This is video number 10 in a series of videos where we're making a tank battle game in Unity for Android mobile devices. In this video what we're going to do is we're going to enable the player to shoot using the barrel on the turret, okay, and we're going to be firing a shell using physics. And also what we're going to be doing is putting a timer on the shoot button, and that will be set at the fire rate of whichever tank you're using. Okay, for this tank, the Chieftain tank, the fire rate is 1 shell every 6 seconds. Okay, good. So let's make a start. So what we need to do is we need to have a button on our canvas, so we can right click on the canvas and create UI button. Okay, and rename the button button shoot, and the text, call it text button shoot, and give it the text shoot, and you can reset this and reposition, Shift Alt, bottom center of the screen, and change the sprite. Okay, and here we can change the color to green. Okay, so look at the text. Okay, overflow here. Okay, good. Okay, so we have a button, but it doesn't do anything at the moment. Now what we need to do here is this button, only the gunner is going to be able to fire this gun. Okay, so what we need to do is go to the camera position manager, which we made in the previous video. So if you don't have one of these, then please watch the previous video. But basically what this does is depending upon if the player presses this button up here, it changes the camera view. Okay, and the gunner has some things that are unique to the gunner, right? For example, the crosshair. Okay, so the driver doesn't need to see the crosshair, only the gunner needs to see it, for example here. So here we have an array of gunner controls, things that are specific to the gunner. Okay, so make this number 2, and we're going to add our button in there, because only the gunner needs to see the crosshair and also be able to shoot the gun. Good. Okay, and apply that. And before we do anything else, let's see if this works. So here we have okay, press play. Alright, so when we start, as you know, we start off in the driver's position. Okay, and there's up and down, okay, left and right. Okay, and go to the driver. Okay, as you can see, the button has been turned off, which is correct. And now we're on to the gunner, and yes, the shoot button has appeared, and so has the crosshair, because these are unique to the gunner. Okay, and if we go back to the third person view, or the driver, again, the only person that can see and use these is the gunner. So that works, and that's correct. Okay, good. As I said, if you don't understand that, then please watch the previous video, and you need to make reference to the camera position manager. Okay, good. Alright, so let's move on now. So we've got a button. Okay, now we need somewhere to fire the shell from. So that's going to be the end of the barrel on the turret. So let's go to the find your turret and the barrel. Okay, and right click on the barrel, create an empty, and call this barrel end. Okay, like the end of the barrel. Alright, and this is the position where the shell is going to be created and fired forwards, okay, from the end of this barrel. So we need to move that, okay, to the end of the barrel, and for this barrel it's -6. Okay, uh, so we have a button to shoot the shell, and we have a position to shoot the shell from. Okay, but we need a way of shooting the shell, so we need to make a script. Okay, so on your tank here, you can make a new C script, okay, and attach it to it. So you go script or create a C script, okay, and call it player barrel gun, okay, player barrel gun, and drag this script onto the tank here, okay, and here we have this script player barrel gun, and I'll go through that with you in a moment, okay. But first, as you can see, this script that's going to fire this shell, okay, it requires a number of things. Okay, but let's have a look at the top. It says there's a fire rate, time between shots, fire rate every 6 seconds. It's correct. It's using a force of 100. Okay, in this, when I tested this, the force of 100 would literally fire the shell right the way over to this hill on the other side. You can change that to suit yourself. Barrel end. Okay, we've just made that. It needs a shell and it needs a button, which we've made as well. Okay, so let's have a look at this player barrel gun script, which is attached to your tank. Okay, so let's have a look at this here. So what we have is I'll make this slightly bigger for you. View, zoom in. Okay, there you go. And basically what we have is here we need using Unity Engine UI. Okay, and we have a time between shots, which is basically the fire rate, which is every 6 seconds, and that number 6 is over here. There's a timer here which we use to make sure that it can only be fired every 6 seconds. It's an integer. There's a force that we're going to apply to the shell. Again, that's public here. So over here you need to set that up for your own shell, okay, and requirements and tank. And here we have a public transform, which is the barrel end. Well, that's just, we want the transform, we want the position of that. We just made the barrel end, so we have the position where we're going to create the shell, okay. And then we actually need the shell, okay, and that's a rigid body, and it's going to be a prefab. We're going to make that soon. And the last three we need is the button itself, okay, which we're going to make interactable. We're going to set interactable to true or false depending upon the timer condition here. And here the image of the button, we're going to make that red when the timer has not completed, okay. And also the text of that button, we're going to show how many seconds are left before the player can shoot the gun again, okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to make sure our gun is how we want it. So we just hit a reset function here. Okay, this is public, it doesn't need to be public, but I just left it there just in case I need it later. Okay, what does it do? Okay, it says shoot button interactable true. Okay, let's have a look at this button. Okay, button over here, it says interactable here. Okay, that's ticked. It means that you can interact with this button. Okay, alright, here and we're going to make the button green, okay, and we're going to make the text so shoot. Okay, so once the button's set up, here we have this I need a way to join the button to the function to make it shoot. So here I have a public void shoot gun, okay, and that's joined to this, will be joined to this shoot button. And when the player presses this shoot button, it will start a coroutine called co-shoot. Okay, this is where everything happens. Okay, first thing it's going to do is say, okay, right, just shot the gun. Okay, so you've got to wait 6 seconds. So I'm going to not allow you to press this button. So I'm going to make interactable to false, alright, which means the button will no longer work. Okay, no matter how many times you press it, it won't work. Okay, And then I'm going to change the image of that button to red. Okay, to confirm that it's not going to work. And then I'm going to have a rigid body here, which is called shell, and we're going to create we're going to create this the shell prefab. Okay, this shell here, I'm going to make it so it's going to instantiate. This shell is going to equal to the instantiation of the prefab at the barrel end position at the barrel end rotation, which is the end of the barrel, as a rigid body. And then here, using the velocity, shell dot velocity is equal to minus force times barrel end forward. So that means that it's going to shoot, it's going to apply a force forwards from that barrel end, okay, out. So it's going to push the shell out into the terrain, okay, away from the tank. Now, if when you set this up for your tank, you find that the tank keeps shooting itself, okay, it's normally because the force is being applied in the wrong direction. So for this particular tank, we had that problem, so I reversed the direction by putting a minus force. I said minus force, okay, but you know, it depends on your tank. If you're having a problem with the tank shooting itself, take the minus off, okay, or add a minus, and it should be fine. Next thing we have this is doubled out sound manager. We're going to play a sound, okay, when we shoot the gun, so the player knows that yeah, we shot the gun. And here we have our timer, okay, and this is going to set the fire rate of the tank. Okay, so what we do first is we say, okay, shot timer, okay, here is equal to the time between shots. So the shot timer, this here, this integer, is equal to 6, which is the fire rate. Okay, and then we have a while loop here. So while shot timer is greater than 0, well, it starts off as being 6. Okay, then change the text on the button to say what the current value of the shot timer is, and then wait for 1 second, okay, and deduct 1 from the shot timer value. Okay, so 6 becomes 5, 5 becomes 4, etc. Okay, and keep doing that while shot timer is greater than 0. When that condition no longer holds, okay, then it's going to make the button interactable true, which means that the player can then press the button again and it will work, and it will change the button color to green to confirm that visually, and also the text will change from the numbers, the countdown numbers, to the word shoot. Okay, so quite a lot going on now, but the timer is going to be necessary to keep this realistic. All right, otherwise, you know, it's going to behave like a machine gun. So we need a timer in there. Okay, good. So take a screenshot of that. Okay, and good. Okay, right. So let's start filling in these gaps. So on our chieftain tank, on our tank here, your tank, you have this script player barrel gun, which I just explained to you. Here's our fire rate 6, okay, false 100 barrel end, okay, let's find that. It's on the turret, barrel end is there, drag that in, okay, we're going to need a shell, we're going to make that in a minute, but we already have the button, so let's get that in there. Okay, button image, and button text, good. Okay, so that's ready to go, except we need now a shell to fire from the gun. Okay, so let's make ourselves one of those. Right, so what we can do here is I'll make a new shell to show you how to do that. What you can do is go create 3D object, a sphere. Okay, just use a sphere. Okay, and make this sphere the same size as the diameter of the barrel. Okay, so it's like 0.1. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, maybe it could be a bit bigger, but okay, let's keep it round numbers for now. Okay, Alright, so that fits inside there. Good. Now let's move it somewhere where we can see it more easily. Again, we're trying to keep this realistic, you know. Okay, so rename this spherical tank shell. Okay, and add a rigid body to it. So it's a sphere collider. It's got a mesh renderer, and I'm going to add a rigid body. Okay, physics rigid body. Just leave that as it is, standard. Okay, and last thing we need to do with this is we need to change the material. Okay, we're doing for mobile, so just default material. Create yourself a new material. Create material. Okay, here, and then I've made one earlier, and I've gone mobile, and I've chosen one from here. Okay, and I've chosen mobile vertex lit. Okay, just using that, and then I just drag that on, and now our tank shell is using a mobile friendly shader here. Okay, alright, which is what we want. Okay, so there you have your tank shell. As I said, it's got a collider, it's not a trigger, it's got a mesh renderer, it's got a material which is mobile friendly, and it's got a rigid body. So now drag that down into your prefabs folder, and there you have a shell, okay, a tank shell. Good. Now let's go back to our tank, and this tank is asking for this shell. Okay, so we can drag it in there. Okay, alright, and we can hit apply. Okay, alright, and we can delete it from here. Now, okay, if you have a look at this here, when we deleted that, because it's on a prefab, it's asking for it again. That's fine. Okay, so go to your prefabs folder, drag that tank shell in there. Okay, job done. Okay, alright, good. So now, if we look at our tank, we have everything we need. Alright, we've got the barrel end, okay, position. We've got a tank shell, which is a prefab down here. We've dragged that in here. We've got all the things we need from the button. Okay, so we're going to do a first test. Right, let's have a look. So, press play here. Alright, let's home in on this tank a little bit. Okay, so driver's good. Okay, there's our button. Okay, right, first problem, we're pressing this button but nothing's happening. Okay, right, so that means that the button's not joined to the script. So, go to the button, press plus, drag in the tank, which is where the script is. Look for the player barrel gun script, which is where the function shoot gun is here, and now they're joined together. Alright, press play again. Okay, and okay, driver, gunner. Okay, alright, okay, so we have we managed to fire the shell, but it's kind of got another error, so let's have a look at that. Right, so this here, double click in the console. Okay, sound manager instant gun. Okay, file save. There we go. Another small problem was they hadn't saved the script. Okay, so I'm just showing you all of this stuff because this console is really useful, and you know, you can get halfway through doing something, it's like, oh, it's not working. Well, have a look in the console, double click it. That's what I do, as you can see. Alright, we just overcome the problems like one at a time, you know, and keep going at it until it works. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, so okay, the error's gone. Good. Right, so let's back to our gunner here. Right, shoot. Okay, right, so I don't know if you can see that, but we're here. We have we've fired a shell, so we'll fire another shell. Shoot. It's counting down 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shoot, good. Right, okay, so let's try and cheat that, yeah? So let's try and cheat it by going, we'll shoot one and then we'll just flick through all the cameras, try and cheat it. Okay, no, impossible. Alright, so there's no way of cheating that. So it doesn't mean like, oh, you know, sometimes a cheat can be by changing the camera view and just going back to it and then it'll reset it, but this doesn't do that, right? So you don't need to worry about that. This tank will only ever fire one shell every 6 seconds. Okay, great. So brilliant. Now the problem was we didn't actually see our shell. We knew that we'd fired a shell, okay, but we couldn't see it because yeah, it zoomed off right over there by that hill. So again, for testing, let's have a look at our tank here. Force is 100. Let's make it like 10, alright, so we can see where this thing lands. Okay, so let's go back in, press play, and we're gonna have a look at this. Okay, so right, let's get to this gunner. Okay, there it is. Right, shoot, there you go. Right, so there's the shell. Okay, rolling around there. Counter's working. Another one. Okay, doesn't matter how many times I click it or try to cheat it. Okay, I'll try and cheat it. Okay, it's not going to work. Okay, there. No, you have to wait. Alright, so there's no cheating there. And here you've got, yeah, you got 4 shells and just one more there. Okay, right, great. So it's firing that shell and it's all working. Right. Okay, so that's all very interesting, yeah. But what we're going to need is you know, some sound here. Okay, we don't have any sound in this at the moment, so I'm going to show you how to make a quick sound manager, which will play a sound when you fire the gun. Okay, so let's go to our hierarchy, and we'll create an empty. Okay, and call it sound manager. Okay, just reset it, and we're going to make a script. Okay, and so you're going to C script, create C script, call it sound manager. Okay, drag it onto your sound manager up here, and it should look like this. Okay, good. Okay, so before we start this, I will say that yep, you can do these sound managers in many ways. You don't need to make your own sound manager. You could attach the sound directly to the game object that you're using. Alright, but we're just going to get something working here, and so really, you know, this is to get you started. Okay, but it is fine. Okay, good. So let's have a look at this sound manager script. Okay, sound manager. Right, so here basically what we have is 2 public audio sources here. One is the shoot barrel gun sound, okay, this one here, and another one is for the explosion. When the shell hits something, it's going to make an explosion sound. Again, as I said, you could attach this sound, the explosion sound, to the actual shell, but for this particular video, we're just going to leave it in the sound manager. Okay. Alright, so we need to access these functions in this script from another script. Okay, so we're going to make public static sound manager instance equal to null. Okay, and in await we're going to say, okay, make sure there's only one sound manager in this scene. So if there's not one in here, then use this one. Okay, this script. Else, if there is already a sound manager in this scene, then delete this or destroy this script. Okay, so that basically says, okay, there can only ever be one sound manager in this scene at any one time. Okay, and here are the 2 functions that will make the sounds. Okay, so this says public void shoot barrel gun, and all this does is plays the sound shoot barrel gun. Okay, this sound here. Okay, and this is the same here. It says, but this is for shell explosion. All this does is plays the sound shell explosion. Okay, so take a screenshot and make sure it's saved. File save. Alright, and let's have a look at this. So here's our sound manager over here. It's just an empty game object with this script that we've made, and it's asking for 2 sounds. Okay, So add component, audio source. Do that twice. Okay, there's your two sounds, right? And inside there, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to find a sound. Okay, so you're going to need to find yourself some sounds. Okay, I've got some sounds there. Chosen the sound, this sound. Turn off play on awake. Okay, this one here is a shell explosion. Again, let's find a sound that's like a okay, let's use that one. Okay, got my two sounds. Turn off play on awake. Okay, and drag those in there. Okay, drag that one in there and drag the second one into there. Okay, alright, so this one is in there and this one is in there. Good. Alright, so let's get this sound manager to work. So go back in our script, and if you remember, in the player barrel gun script here, this player barrel gun script, we doubled out the sound manager instant shoot barrel gun. Okay, undouble it and file save. So what's going to happen now is when you shoot this gun, okay, not only is it going to create the shell and fire the shell, okay, it's also going to make a sound. Okay, and it's going to do that in the sound manager in the instance, because it's an instance, and it's going to activate this function here, shoot barrel gun. Okay, this, okay, and make the sound, play the sound. So file save, that's saved. And now when we shoot this gun, we're expecting now to hear a sound. Okay, so let's wait for that to update, and then we'll do a test. Okay, and we'll play this. Alright, so here's a driver, here's the command, here's a gunner. Okay, I don't know if you heard that. Okay, I don't know if you heard that. Let's try again. Okay, so there's a sound there. Okay, more. There you go. Alright, so now you've got some sound to confirm that that's working and it's firing everything just great. Okay, good. Alright, so what we can do now is we need to look at the shell. Okay, alright, so now we're going to make a script for the shell, so that when the shell hits something, okay, it's going to destroy itself, okay, and it's going to create a sound, an explosion sound, and some particles, so that you can see where it has exploded or landed. Okay, so let's grab our prefab of our tank shell here, and we're going to add a script to the bottom of this. Okay, so again, in your scripts folder, create C script, okay, and call it shell script, okay, and drag it onto the bottom of this tank shell prefab, okay, and hit apply to apply it to the prefab. Okay, now let's have a look at this script. So this is attached to the shell. Okay, this is the last script we're going to need in this video. Okay, so what it does here is basically it needs some particles, because when this shell collides with something, it's going to display some particles. Okay, so we're going to need make some particles, and at start it basically says, okay, destroy this after 5 seconds. Alright, now don't strictly need that, okay, because we're going to assume that everything works fine, but sometimes when you have a very fast moving objects, they can cause a problem for some of the colliders and stuff, and yeah, go straight through them. So just to be safe, yeah, so to speak, I tend to put, you don't need to, but I tend to put here destroy game object after 5 seconds, regardless of what happens. Even if it's already been destroyed, fine, but if it's not, if it's kind of hovering around in the background there, you know, then just destroy it. So like self-destruct after 5 seconds, that's what this means. Okay, now this is the actual bit that we're more interested in, okay, here, which is on collision enter. So when this shell collides with something, okay, some other thing, okay, we're going to create some particles wherever that shell has landed or is at this rotation. Okay, then we're going to destroy it, and then we're going to send a message to this console over here to say shell destroyed. So we know, because we might not be able to see it, might have landed right over on the other side of that hill. Okay, it will send a debug log over here to say yep, shell destroyed, it's all working fine. Okay, now we also here, because we've in our sound manager, if you remember, we just created, we had another function called shell explosion. Okay, this one. So now we're going to play that sound as well here. Sound manager instance shell explosion. So what does it do? Well, okay, it creates some particles. Okay, it makes a sound, it destroys itself, and it sends a message to the console using the debug log to confirm that. Right. So file save. Okay, so we're going to need some particles. Okay, so let's have a look at these particles here. So what you need to do is you need to make some particles. Okay, create effects particle system. Right, click that. Okay, and I made one earlier, save some time. Okay, and I've called it particle shell. Made the particles quite big. Okay, 555, and got a stop action here which says destroy. Okay, 2017 has got that on there, so it basically means destroy these. Okay, but what I tend to do is maybe from habit is I always put a little script at the bottom called destroy timer. Okay, just to make sure that these particles are destroyed. Okay, again, should there be any problems like I did with the shell, I put after, self-destruct after 5 seconds. I've also put a self-destruct after 5 seconds on these particles here as well. Alright, so I just made a little script. Here it is, destroy game object, comma 5. Okay, that's all that does. Alright, don't need it. Alright, but I just in case. Good. So here we have our particles. Okay, good. So again, we're going for mobile. So what I did, made them big, 555 here. Kept the numbers down low, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Maximum particles 2. Okay, remember this is like a don't really want loads and loads of particles flying around everywhere. Just a couple of big particles will do the job for this. Okay, stop action destroy here. You can do that if you want. Renderer, okay, renderer particle shell. Okay, material particle shell, particle shell. Now let's have a look at that. Now this material particle shell again is a mobile shader. Okay, and I've used mobile particles additive. You can choose any of those. Right, again we're going mobile friendly. Right, okay, so here all I did was I made my particles here, and yeah, basically put them here. Material, the renderer material is particle shell, and particle shell is uses a mobile friendly shader. Okay, good. Alright, so here we've got our tank shell. Okay, alright, and that's a prefab down here. So our shell particles also prefab. Okay, you need to make your particles a prefab. Drag those in, and now we've got this script with the particles attached down here in the prefab. What we can do, turn that off. Okay, just remove that one from the hierarchy. Okay, and we'll have a look. So your prefab now has of your tank shell sphere collider. It's not a trigger, a mesh renderer using a mobile friendly shader. Okay, and a rigid body, standard settings, you can change those if you want, and a script called shell script, and it's got some particles which again are using mobile friendly shader. Okay, and we're keeping the numbers down, and also it's attached to the tank shell prefab. Okay, good. So let's have a look here. We'll just apply everything, save everything. Okay, so now we're going to deal with the shell itself and see if we get any errors. We're going to look over here in the console. Okay, press play. Okay, it's working good. Right, okay. So let's shoot. Okay, great. Okay, I don't know if you saw that, but we have now. Okay, good. So we have a timer, and when we fire the fire button, we shoot the shell. We have a sound. Okay, and we also have the second sound, which is the shell explosion, and we have the particles, and the shell has destroyed itself. You can no longer see it up here in the hierarchy, so that's definitely disappeared. Good. Right. Okay, so everything's working great. Okay, now for the fun part. What we're going to do is we're going to create a target and test this. So create 3D object cube. Okay, and call it just call it target. Okay, and yeah, we can reset this, reset it, make it like 10, make it yeah, why not 10 10 10. Oh, it's not too big. 5 5 5. Okay, get something sensible. Okay, and then we'll move this somewhere. Okay, so we'll move it this right, so we can shoot this. Okay, let's take the moment. We're just testing things here. All right, it doesn't have to be in exactly the right place. Okay, so there's a target for us. Okay, now this target, you need to put a rigid body on there. So physics rigid body. Okay, standard settings, fine. Okay, and what we're going to do is I'm going to try and shoot this cube with this gun to make sure it's all working. All right. So press play, and I'm going to go to the gunner. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, there's a problem straight away. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to apply some more force to this shell. Okay, now remember, change this to 10 for testing, so let's put it back to 100. Okay. You know, if you put 1,000 on there, it's going to really go. Okay, so let's keep it at 100 for now. Okay, back to my gunner. There we go. There you go. Wow, works really well, and that's just with 100. Okay, right, so that's definitely working. Okay, we'll do one more just to show you there's a lot of things going on there. Okay, and I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll move that, just move that target. You're going to need to do all this. All right, let's put this on the top of this hill, something like that. See what happens. Okay, do one more test. Oh, looks good. Seems to be working. Okay, I'm gonna even try and have a little drive around now. Okay, just a little bit. So just to make sure it's all working. Okay, going forwards. Yeah, right. Charge going up and down. Okay. Driver, commander. Yeah, all looking good there. Commander's found something. Okay, over to the gunner. Now remember, we're using physics here, right? So like, you know, it's not like using a raycast. A raycast would hit that every time, but you know, we're trying to keep it real, so we're using physics on a shell with a rigid body attached to it. So it's like, you know, the further you shoot this shell, then the more the gravity is going to affect it. So you know, it's realistic, and yeah, it makes it a little bit more interesting. So you have to take a little bit, as a gunner, you have to take a little bit more time to line this up. So you see there, right? So I need to shoot a bit higher. There you go. Perfect. Right. Okay, great. So that's working. All right. Now, just want to say one more thing. All right. I'm just going to show you something here. A couple of videos ago, we did this thing where to stop the barrel from going through the engine compartment of this tank. Okay, and I showed you a way of doing that, right? But what I need to just make sure of, and I'm going to leave a message on that video, is maybe I didn't make it clear yet, is that to stop any problems on this barrel guide, just make sure the rigid body on it is set to kinematic. Okay. Alright, so I just wanted to say that to the people now who've been following these videos. Alright, just make sure that it's kinematic. Okay, great. Alright, well, thanks very much for watching this video. Please give a thumbs up if you like the video, and please subscribe to the channel, and hope you learned something, and see you in the next video.